legendary Miami Herald columnist Greg Cote is in with us, as he is every Tuesday. And
Did I make that status, Greg? When I left the Miami Herald in 2012, did you guys say, oh, man, we just lost a legend?
Yes.
Lies.
Yeah, I did. Nobody else did.
Poppy
but I did. I
did not
I
say
had your
that.
back.
Phenom. Greg, I grew up reading you and your columns, and one thing that you were an absolute local legend at was the Go Get 'em column. Now, you had some good Go Get 'em columns,
Right.
and you had some David Bostons, let's be honest.
Sure.
But I am
got 'em,
asking,
though.
but
They
I
got
am
'em.
asking
Yeah,
you.
good callback.
I am
David
asking you to
Boston.
run it back.
Yeah.
All right? And do what you do best. Jonathan Taylor, go get him.
Look, I said a couple of weeks ago when Dalvin Cook was still available that they don't need Dalvin Cook, that Raheem Mostert, to me, is a very underrated back.
The rare don't go get him column.
But there's a but here.
Greg's butt.
Jonathan Taylor is better than Dalvin Cook. He's younger, appreciably younger, especially at that position where being 4 years younger is important, crucial. And so, yeah, I can see, depending on what the asking price is, I can see them going for Jonathan Taylor. I don't think I'd give up a first-round pick for him. I don't.
Well, that's what I want
I
to
don't
talk
even think they think they're going to get a first-round pick.
Well,
right?
the reports are they're leveraging the media as everyone does, and I think we're kind of getting exposed to what the game is between insiders and these teams. But I want to really harp on, and I know he's a good fit for Miami, not necessarily a good fit at $16 million. Maybe this is a type of scenario where his team seeks out a trade in which they think they can get an extension, but it's not totally contingent on that. But Jim Irsay, I mean, he's funny regardless, but no, we don't want to pay you market value, Jonathan Taylor. But when you're out on the trade market, we want a first-round pick. We value you that much, but we're not going to value you enough to give you the offer that would go in line with a first-round draft pick. Jim Irsay playing both sides here, Greg.
Right. Well, look, whenever I write "go get 'em," and I do like star power on a team. I do. I love that.
You're a sucker for star power.
I'm a sucker for star power.
You're a sucker for cupping your hand up against your ear,
Right.
and speaking directly to the Miami Dolphin fan base with "go get 'em."
Jonathan Taylor.
Or demanding press conferences.
It works sometimes, by the way, because you did that with Messi, and
Sure,
that's going
thank you.
great.
Thank
So,
you
yeah.
very much.
And
Thank
you also wrote the Messi "go get 'em" column too.
Yeah.
Oh,
Thank
of
you,
course.
Greg.
Of course.
Greg,
I
your
mean,
fingerprints are all over this whole Messi situation, aren't they?
Yeah, they really are. You know, I hate to brag. Look, it's all a matter of what it takes to get Jonathan Taylor. If they can get him for a second-round pick, hell yes.
Yeah.
Immediately.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Dolphins don't have a third or a fourth,
Yeah,
right?
but Dad, that you're the fantasy guy that let's send him 3 backups for Jonathan Taylor. You have to make a trade that they're it's going to
understand
take a
that.
first-round pick to
Okay,
get Jonathan Taylor.
then I wouldn't do it. I would not give up a first-round pick for Jonathan Taylor.
Can I ask you a question, Cody? What did you wave Billy off so aggressively for? You were so disoriented.
That was me. He was waving
it
off.
Chris?
Yeah.
I was calling him out because he was doing a whole thing about you go after Jonathan Taylor, you don't go after Dalvin Cook. Yeah. While on the bright line this morning, my dad was like, Dalvin Cook, Jonathan Taylor, same player.
Comparable skill.
Yeah,
Comparably good.
Betrayal by
but
your
as
son.
I said to Mike, at that position, and maybe that position alone, the difference between 27 and 23 is very large at running back.
I think Kansas City is an interesting option for Jonathan Taylor. They got to figure out what they're going to do with Chris Jones, and they're not in the greatest cap situation. But this could be a one-year loaner type of deal. And I imagine Jim Irsay would be like Nick Young with the question marks all around his face. Like, wait, so you'll take a low-tier offer? You'll play for the same total for them, but not for me? But, yeah, that – from what you're hearing from Jonathan Taylor's camp this is a principle thing too. He's insulted that the team he's produced for so long is not giving him fair market value.
Cody, you have a bunch of question marks around your face. Do you know who Nick Young is? Do you remember what the reference was that he was talking about right
No,
there?
I don't.
Didn't think so.
No.
Yeah.
Swaggy P? Why would I say Swaggy P as if it would help?
Whatever happened to Jonathan Taylor Thomas?
Great question.
JTT. Was he a popular kid? Because I remember him on all the teen
Beat.
cover, Tiger Beat
Young
and
Simba.
stuff. He's got to be like your age, right?
Young Simba.
I think
Lion King.
JTT's got to be over 40. at
He's
this
41.
Point. Yeah.
Wow.
Does he still look good?
That's Beyonce's age.
I think he went to school or something. Big mistake. Kids, don't go to school.
At
If you're a
40?
Hollywood actor, don't go to school. You don't need it for anything. You're going to be a star forever.
Well, he's not a star forever.
Well, because he went to school,
Oh,
which
so-
is the mistake.
Yeah.
If you're a young
Wow.
and upcoming star, don't bother with school. You don't need it.
I'm seeing a picture here from 21.
He's like a director or
Not
something,
looking-
right?
He's not looking
has
like
something.
the old JTT.
Was he from Home Improvement?
Yeah.
Yes.
That's
Who
a
among
problematic
us, Chris?
cast.
I'm not throwing stones. It's just I would have thought if you would have said to me, I would have thought he would have still looked like him. Wouldn't you have? Like years ago.
Would he still look like a
Chris
14-year-old
almost
boy?
gave
I
us
don't
the.
know.
I thought JTT was gonna look like JTT, like be like a heartthrob forever.
Is he a short king?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
For sure.
He's got like a jewel in.
He's got.
Is Jonathan Taylor the type of running back for Mike McDaniel? I know he's like a little bit bigger, burlier. Is he? I don't know how fast he is. He's got to be pretty fast, right?
what I mean, Mike McDaniel's zone running scheme, which is
it more
from
about
the
speed or does
Shanahan.
it not matter?
I mean, Mostert's got great speed on the outside. The zone running scheme is designed to get you on the outside, but you can also be very successful running straight up the middle. It's such a great zone blocking scheme that you can get production out of pedestrian backs. Like Orlandis Gary had a 1,000-yard season one year running behind this. Alfred Morris out of FAU had a really successful, productive season his rookie year in this scheme. You get a talented back like Jonathan Taylor, and you couple that with a tried and true, brilliant hack. It is an NFL offensive hack. If you run the zone blocking scheme that is from the Shanahan tree, you will get running production.
And that's another reason why the Dolphins are just about the last team that would overpay for Jonathan Taylor.
Especially when they need to pay a bunch of Dolphins coming up. Christian Wilkins, Javon Holland, Jalen Waddle,
Right,
Tua.
Jalen Phillips,
Yeah.
Tua. Like the Dolphins have a bunch of money they need to spend. So I'm glad they're not spending on running back.
But the LA Rams have proven, like, if this is the window, you go for it, you win your Super Bowl, and you pay the consequences afterwards. They had a similar situation where everybody's up, and then you're going to have to make difficult decisions. But as much as I praise the zone blocking scheme of the Shanahan tree, Mike McDaniel from that, their running game really struggled to come online. It was confusing at the early part of the season. We saw it gradually as the season went on, as they made the acquisition of Jeff Wilson, that it got better and better. But what is the ceiling? What is the norm for this? Is it the high end of what we saw last year, and that's it? That's the peak? If so, then yeah. Throw caution to the wind, go out and get someone like Jonathan Taylor. I'm not so sure about paying him $16 million over the course of his career, but you'll cross that bridge when you need to get to it.
I'm curious about the other side. I'm curious about Jonathan Taylor or where any sort of high-end running back wants to play these days. Do you want to play in a place where you're an every down back and they're wearing you out and you're getting the big numbers, but you're probably 2 years away from not getting another contract? Yeah. Or do you want to go to a team maybe like the Dolphins, which, pass heavy, run on occasion, save yourself a
rotation,
little bit, but will you get the big contract as a result of that? Seems like it's lose-lose for them.
Well, McCaffrey got the big contract by being a workhorse. Derrick Henry, big contract.
You have to be in the
workhorse.
passing game part of the workhorse, right? You can't just be a handed-off guy.
No one calls a pass catcher a workhorse, though. We come up with different names for them.
Nick Chubb
you
got
just
his
call
money.
McCaffrey a
I
workhorse.
think you want the big contract
McCaffrey.
now, not knowing if you're going to be in the league 3 years from now. So it's like
So you need the big numbers then. Don't worry. I'll worry about my knees later. Get the
exactly
big
right.
numbers.
Give me one big deal and I'll be good.
McCaffrey is a workhorse when healthy. That's a problem. But Nick Chubb doesn't really get involved all that much in the passing game, and he got his money. In terms of health in his career, there's more of a rotation in a Mike McDaniel offense than there was in Indianapolis, where he was the workhorse. But you just mentioned, are you more inclined to get that big offer if you're playing in that kind of scheme? He just was, and he wasn't getting that big kind of offer from Jim Irsay.
Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle are both going to have at least 100 passes thrown their way, at least, maybe 120. And this is not an offense that needs that workhorse back. This offense is just fine with the committee led by Raheem Mostert.
You don't want to salt the game away. I think what you're saying goes against the identity of Mike McDaniel's coaching scheme his entire time as a professional. It's just, okay, we'll be explosive early on, and then we'll salt the game away, like the Atlanta Falcons of Kyle Shanahan did several years ago. Control the game on the ground as you've already imposed your will.
All right, I got a new game I want to play. It's called Form a Poker Hand. That is one card, a great athlete, and your other card is a celebrity, but they have the same name. I'm going with Jonathan Taylor and Jonathan Taylor Thomas.
They don't have the same name. They have a
Just
different
close
name.
enough. This is
Like
like
a
a
similar
similar game.
So it's close enough.
That's
Yeah,
my
JT
poker
and
hand.
JT.
I don't think any
Yeah.
of you can come up with a poker hand better than mine.
Michael Jordan.
Shit.
The game has ended.
The game is over.
That was fun.
JTT's 5'5".
Short king.
Yeah. And he also went to Harvard.